Welcome back, everybody, to the Quarter Century Soldier. I am Felix Black. Just to bring everyone up to speed, 2001 was a relaxed year for me. I was getting used to being in the military, in the army, and 9/11 happened. So we did the ramp up with 9/11 in 2001, heading into 2002. Because 9/11 was September of 2001, that carried over into 2002 because, again, we did not know what was going to happen with us having to deploy. We are an infantry brigade. Infantry units are frontline units, and we are there to support them, right? So we did not know what was going to be the need in Iraq, in Afghanistan. We didn't know as of yet. But we knew something was gonna happen, right? War was gonna be started. So for me personally, 2002 is a year of change because I've already been there going on 2 years. And with anything, the military, around 2 to 3 years when you're somewhere, you're ready to go. All right. You've been there, the experience is old, you've kind of gotten into that routine, and you want change. I know I do. After 2 to 3 years, every duty station, I'm ready to kind of go. I like moving, even though I don't like packing boxes. I like moving. I like looking for a place to stay. I like looking at apartments, looking at homes, just to see like what they look like, how much they cost, where it is in the city, stuff like that. I like that. And I just like changes of scenery because it's fresh, it's new. And, you know, if it's invigorating, right? It gives me energy. I just get tired of the routine. So for 2002, I'm looking to leave. Like I've said before, I don't like to camp outside. I don't want to go to do field exercises for 10 days, 30 days. And I don't want to do that. That's not in my DNA. And so that is a staple, you know, in these type of units. That's what they do. So the only thing that I can do is I can start to look for somewhere else to go after 2 years. After 2 years, you can make a call to something we call branch. And what that means is there is a person that is in charge of all of your assignments for your job title. Mine was human resources. So there's a person that we can call. It's changed now, but there was a person that we would call. A person like me, they would pick up the phone. I'd be like, hey, you know, this is Felix. I'm in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I've been here for 2 years now. I'm ready to go. What do we have available to move? What do I have available, you know, to choose from? It's always been better to make that call rather than have a person like me choose for you. Because what it is they're going to choose those, we call it high op tempo, which that means those units that are supposed to deploy, those units that are first to deploy, those are the units that get personnel first. Unless you're that type of person, you don't want to go to those places because you're going to end up somewhere like I am now, right? So I'm in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm in an infantry unit. Those are the type of places they're going to look to place me as a male human resources specialist, because at this time women weren't going to those units. So you as the soldier can make the call and call this person ahead of time to see what they have available, what they will slot you for. We'll get to that towards the end of 2002. But so for the beginning of 2002, I ended up going to air assault school in February. I didn't want to go. I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to go, but Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the 101st Airborne is the only air assault division in the Army. What does that mean to those, you know, who weren't a part of it? What it is we rappel out of helicopters. That's all it is. When you see movies, you see helicopters, they come in and they hover, they drop ropes out the sides of the helicopter, and the guys and girls go down the rope. That's all it is, air assault. And then also we can hook tanks. We can hook vehicles to the underside of the helicopter, and they can carry, the equipment to the next place. That saves times on like shipping. It's quick, right? Because if we're making moves very quickly, we can load up into the helicopter. Then they will have another team that puts our equipment underneath us in the helicopter. We can take it, drop the equipment, drop us, and then we do what we need to do. And so that is the basis for air assault operations. I didn't want to go to the school. The school is 10 days. They call it the hardest 10 days in the Army, because the school is so attention to detail, is so meticulous. But what happens is it's a numbers game. Now, I know that now, that as a commander, as a leader, you want all of your people to be trained. You want stats, basically. I have a company of 100 people, and we have 50% of them that have the air assault badge, right? That's something that you can get at Fort Campbell. It looks better when it's 60%, when it's 70%, when it's 80%, when it's 90%. Why? Because that means, one, that your unit is in shape. Your unit is kind of meeting the tradition of being at Fort Campbell. This is not something you have to go to, but since you're there, it's highly enforced, and you're kind of looked down upon because you don't have it, right? Because the school is right there. It's 10 days. You've been here for 2 years. Why the fuck don't you have it yet? Like, what are you waiting on? So it's just one of those things where they don't tell you have to go, but you pretty much have to go. They make life hell for you if you don't go. Why do I say that? They have this built-in obstacle course where you have to like climb a rope. You have to rappel. You have to climb a rope, rappel down one, go over like a jungle gym type apparatus. And so what it is we were doing physical training there every Thursday for those who didn't have the badge, right? Again, these are old hardened first sergeants and sergeant majors. These are the E8s, the E9s. Like, those are the people always talk about captains and colonels and lieutenants. But for the enlisted, it's the sergeant major, it's the first sergeant, it's your sergeant first class. These are the Felix Blacks of the world, the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds who are just, they've been around, right? And they know what it takes. They lead, they have the attitude, they're always mad, they're always pissed off, right? But at the end of the day, they like leading soldiers. They like leading in general. That's why they're there to do it. So you kind of get made fun of indirectly because you don't have the badge. And they make you do this form of PT, and it's not wild, it's just intense until you get it. So I ended up going in February, and it's a very attention to detail course. So you just have to pay attention, and you have to just be a detailed oriented person, which I am. So I go through, the first day that we're there, you have to go through the obstacle course. Climbing the rope is just a single rope. You just have to climb all the way to the top and like touch the top. That's the big thing at Fort Campbell, rope climb. So you need upper body strength and legs, depending on your technique. The proper technique is to use your legs and then kind of snake your way up. But most guys, we just use our arms, our upper body strength to go up to the rope. So when you're going through the obstacle course, you can't fail an obstacle twice, meaning you don't complete it, right? They have, one of them is the confidence climb. That's the big ladder to the heavens. You got to get over that. So you got to get over your fear of heights. They also have, other obstacles. I don't know how to describe them, that you just have to jump over, crawl under, things like that. Well, they had one second to the last obstacle that's called the Weaver. It's arced up like this, and it's like a ladder, but it's very wide and it's arced. with the beams going across, right? So the thing about that is when you're going up, you have to go under a beam, over a beam, under a beam, over a beam, right? It's when you're going up, you get fucking smoked, right? Because you have to have technique in order to do that. Well, I failed it once, right? And so what it is, you have to, once you fail it once, you get to go back through. If you fail it again, you're kicked out of the school, right? Day zero. They put everybody through this obstacle course, and if you fail an obstacle twice, that's it. You're kicked out of the school. So I failed a weaver once. So now I'm in danger of going home. Day zero. My sergeant just dropped me off 5 seconds ago. So failed a weaver once, go through the second time. I take my time. I make it through. Okay. So now that I made it through, I don't remember. I think that you can fail another one, right? You have to fail the same obstacle twice. It's not like if you fail the confidence climb, get past that, then you fail the weaver, you're kicked out. You have to fail the same obstacle twice. And the last thing is the rope climb. You climb up, boop, 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 touch the rope, and you just drop down. Our class, it was a bunch of people. It was like at least 100 of us. We lost, it was 100 after the obstacle course. We lost all the females in the obstacle course because they couldn't do the rope climb. So I think we start off with like 130, 120. So, we lost dudes too. It wasn't just the women. But we lost all of the women in that part because they couldn't get the rope climb. So after we come off the obstacle course, we're fucking tired, right? So we strip down. We're in our uniform with boots, right? So we're in our army uniform, the green, with boots, doing this obstacle course. So what we do is we change, and now we're going to do the run. We have like a 2 mile run, 2.5 mile run, and it's like 18 minutes to do that. And for runners, that's not a problem, right? You can run that. But bro, we just went through an obstacle course, right? We're using upper body strength, we're using our legs. So now we got to do this run. And so what it is they have an ambulance. They have an ambulance that drives at the back, that keeps pace. But you don't want to be anywhere near that because they could literally be off pace. When they say go, there's a timer at the start point, and that timer is official. So if you're thinking, well, let me just stick by, the ambulance, they're keeping time, I'm good. You can't do that. They're there to scoop people up if something happens, if a person falls down, hurts themselves, whatever like that. So you don't want to be anywhere near that. If you're ahead of that, you're usually pretty good. Come back from doing that. We lost people doing that too, right? Because people just couldn't make it. And then we do this thing where they want us to line up by number, but we don't know. You know your number, but you don't know his number. You don't know his number. You don't know his number, the guy behind you. You don't know anybody's number. So they're just like, okay, form it up, 1 to whatever in order. So we're scurrying. Like everybody's like, well, what number you got? What number you got? I'm like 50, so I think I'm right here in the middle. And they're just like, you guys are taking too long. Boom, get down and do push-ups. The thing about air assault school is when you're doing any exercise, you're doing 101, right? 101. So they're going to count 101. And it is the craziest thing because there's no way you could do 101 push-ups. There's just no way. 101 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. I can't do that. I don't know about nobody else. So they're just doing that, right? Oh, do it again. All right, line up by numbers. All right, boom. So it's a fracas. Everybody's running around. Hey, numbers. Are you taking too long? 101 overhead claps. It's not 1, 2. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, right? So we're counting like that. It's 4 count. Needless to say, that was a long day. After, they do that a couple times because obviously they know that we can't line up because we don't know. They just wanted to smoke us. That's it. We finally get lined up and we have an inspection now. So again, they have the ability to start the class with 100+ people. I don't think they have the ability to keep 100+ people the whole time. That's why they have these measures to kind of cut people out, right? And they know they're going to lose people. So they're going through, you have to have everything that's on your packing list. And then in addition to that, you can't have any holes in like any bag. We had a bag for wet weather gear, and you can't have any holes in your wet weather gear. And so what it is that it has a rubber lining in the inside because it's wet weather, right? So what they did was they they turned the bag inside out and put it over their heads. And if they can see any daylight, you fail. No questions. If you're missing a glove, that's it. You're gone. It is really attention to detail, and you got to really make sure before you get to that school that you've gone through the check. Someone has checked you meticulously, right? Usually by somebody who has the badge and who's been there. After you get through that crazy day 0, it's okay. But you have classes, and then we have what we call rigging, where we have chain counts for the vehicles. We have chain counts for cargo, just for everything. And that's usually what gets people is the test. When you're going through the test, it's like, you have to really, really know it and check it, right? So how you're supposed to check it, you're supposed to put hands on it and just count it by the book, A, B, C, because if you skip a step, right, because you're thinking, I know it, you're going to miss something. And you got 2 times to fail it. And if you fail it, you were gone. So I ended up making it through the school. I don't have a fear of heights, but I do have a funny story. I do have a funny story for it. People are okay. So before we get into the helicopter, we try on what we call, what was the word that we call it? Forgot, but it's like makeshift. It's like a 90-foot, it's a tower, a 90-foot tower. And they show you how to go down the tower, right? You're supposed to like bounce off the tower with your legs, go down, and then it's like a swinging motion, right? You swing back and forth, even though you don't do that coming out of the helicopter. But it's the tower is to get you comfortable with what we call a Swiss seat. We tie the seat that we hook into, and it's to get you used to being, that high off the ground. People have fears of heights. I don't have a fear of heights, but some people do. And when you're up there and you have to, you literally have to stand on the edge and just lean back with the rope in your hand. You stop it because you're your own like brake and acceleration, but you have to, like, this is me, and I have to like lean back straight into an L. And a lot of people couldn't do that. So they were just like, oh, I can't, I don't want to. It was like, hey, we're not arguing with you, right? We're not going to do this. Either you're going off the tower or just get the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? Like either or. And then, there were some people that couldn't do it, right? So they walked down the tower. I don't recall them pushing anyone off of it. I don't recall them doing that. So when we get into the actual helicopter, right? We're in the helicopter. It's 90 feet in the air, and blades are turning, and it's the actual live thing, right? It's 2 people. It's a Black Hawk helicopter. Boom, the doors go open. So it's 2 people on each side. 1, 2. So one person goes out, one person goes out, second person goes out, second person goes out. So you got those ropes, and you put your foot on the railing and you push yourself out. Like you push yourself out. But what they don't tell you is that it's rocky, right? When you see a helicopter hovering, you're thinking like, oh, this is cool. Like, boom, we're good. It's like it was like a metal floor or it wasn't tile, but it was like slippery. And we got on boots. And so that shit is like rocking. So we're just like jumbling all over the place. And they want you to stoop. We start out on our knees and they kind of want you to crouch down. I don't know. They want you to get on your feet and move your back towards the door. And so what happened when I did that, I actually slipped out, right? I slipped out of the door. And so I'm hanging there, right? I'm hanging with my feet. My feet are up here and my body's, I don't know how to really describe it. I'm pretty much upside down. This is me looking up at the helicopter and my feet are up here. And so he has to get my feet out in order for me to go down. So he pushes my feet it's crazy. It was a crazy scene. He's pushing my feet out of the door so I can go down the helicopter because I kind of slipped out of the door and fell because this shit was rocky. But we got through it, right? Graduated on Valentine's Day 2002. So after you graduate, everybody's like, congratulations, you did a good job. Cool. No one says anything to you anymore. That's how I know that you get indirectly hazed. People say little shit to you, you're not qualified anymore, and you can't do this, you can't do that, or go do this obstacle, go do that. Once you pass, you become just like everyone else. It's like, oh, you got the badge now. Okay, cool. So you're just a statistic at that point. But that was cool because I don't like being bothered. So I got through it with no problem. Was the school hard? Yeah, it was. It was very attention to detail. Very, very attention to detail. And they have a zero tolerance for people who fail, just like with most military schools. So I got through that. And then for the rest of 2002, I'm still being a regular 21-year-old at this point. I can actually drink, but I'm not drinking because I've never drunk before. And I'm still doing what young soldiers do, going out, partying, chasing girls, stuff like that, going to work. But I'm actually tired of being at Fort Campbell. So I think around September, I hit my 2-year mark being there. And we're still on edge about deploying. We don't know. Bush, I think, was the president at the time. And we're still on edge about when we're going to deploy. People want to deploy, but some people don't want to. I had issues with our officer who was over our office. He's the adjutant, right? So we're S1. Shop 1 is what we call human resources. In these units, we do your paperwork, right? We do your promotions, we do your evaluations, we do your leave for your vacation days. And we have an officer that's appointed over us, and he's the adjutant. So in these units, these are infantry officers. Most of these guys have gone to West Point, and West Point grads in the military are some of the most obnoxious motherfuckers you're ever going to meet, right? Because why? They go to West Point, they get told from the gate that they're great, they're awesome, they're amazing, and they have all this bravado that when they get to their units, they're automatically going to get a level of respect that we don't give to anybody, right? You don't get respect just because of the rank you have. The rank gets the respect. So the rank gets the salute. The rank gets the parade rest. But Felix coming in as a captain, I'm not going to get respect as a person because I haven't showed my worth yet. I haven't paid my dues. It is a very pay your due organization, and rightfully so, right? Because there are consequences that happen when you deploy and motherfuckers don't know what they're doing. So he was a guy, he's an infantry guy, and they're in that job waiting to become a commander of Alpha Bravo Charlie or Delta Company, sometimes Echo. So they're just waiting. They don't want to do that job. They don't want to be admin. They want to go and they want to shoot weapons. They want to go out and, you know, do exercises, kick doors in, stuff like that. So he's a guy that he wants people to kiss his ass, to respect who he is as a person, and to still get that respect for the rank, right? That's where some of my issues stem from in general, because there's a lot of people, and we're not gonna name names because all right, inspired by a true story. When we're gonna come across a lot of people in my career that their rank defines who they are, right? It's what they are and who they are, and it should never be who you are, because that shit's gonna come off one day. And then what, right? I had the inverse problem, which was I didn't care what my rank was. I am who I am. You're gonna give me that respect as a person, as a man, right? And I'm gonna earn that. But in that organization, in the Army, they only see the rank that's on your chest and collar. They see that first. And so that's how they're going to approach you. That's how they're going to treat you. And so when you're low level, they don't give a fuck if you've been to school. They don't give a fuck about your experiences. They don't care if you got a family. They see you as being low level, so you don't know shit. So shut up, right? And that's not always the case. You can learn from everyone. So, naturally I had issues with that because I was good at my job. I came with a confident attitude. I got swag. I'm sorry if you don't have it. And I'm not defined by this job. It's a job that I want to do, but it's not who I am. So me and him don't really see eye to eye. And I'm kind of just ready to go because at that time I don't have any power. I'm powerless against a captain and anybody with rank, because that's just the way the Army is set up. They're always going to take that person's side, unless there's some allegation like male, female type allegations, right? That type stuff. But if someone is feeling discriminated against or treated unfairly, they don't address that shit. Like they don't do anything about it. And so that's one of the problems that they have is when people genuinely use their rank, their stature to intimidate, to bully. And so when you try to say, hey, this person is doing this to me, they call you out as being weak, as being soft, just deal with it type stuff. And that, that's the wrong answer. It's always been the wrong answer. And those that are continuing to do it, it's still the wrong answer. Hopefully that's something that they can fix and be a little bit more understanding that, hey, people really are doing that. Just because someone has rank on their chest, just because I'm a master sergeant, doesn't mean that I'm a good person, right? They're two different people. I am able to excel in the Army, but I can be a shit person all fucking day long, right? And so that's the problem, is that when you walk in with rank on your collar, with rank on your chest, they assume that you're a good person, that you are great at being a human being, not just great at your job. And that's not always the case, right? And we can see that in regular life. We can see that as when people talk to the director or the principal or the chief operating officer, they assume that person is a good person. Like, because they're good at their job, they're good when they're away from their job. And that's not always the case. So yeah, I was ready to go because I could see myself getting in trouble just because I was not separating work from who I am. If you said something about me, I took it personally, right? Because people have this thing about, they'll say you're a liar or something like that. You lied. Hold up. I didn't lie about shit. What the fuck is you talking about? Oh, once you come back with energy, once you match their energy with, hold on, like, you're not going to talk to me any type of way. Like, what's up? And then they're like, oh no, I outrank you and you're being disrespectful. No, 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 no. What we're not going to do is hide behind the rank now that you brought that energy, because what you tried to do is you tried to sun me like you're better than me, like you are an alpha and I'm just, in your shadow. And so when I meet that energy, rank be damned. I don't give a damn what I'm wearing and what you're wearing. If we want to go head up, let's go. Like, what's up? And so when they get frightened, which this has happened for 24 years, they start to hide behind the rank and they get, oh, he's being disrespectful to an officer or to a senior NCO. I'm not being disrespectful. You started that. You thought that you could say whatever you wanted to me because I'm lower ranking. I can tell you right now, that's not happening. I will take being in trouble if I can fuck you up. I'm serious, like real talk. If we can get busy, then yeah, I'll take the punishment. Like, don't act like that's keeping me from doing anything. That's saving you as much as it's saving me. And so people use that to their benefit. They like to toe the line and talk shit. And then when you start to say, hey, hold up, who are you talking to? Like, what you talking about? Oh, no, I was just, now what you just doing is you running your mouth. And so if you have an issue, let's talk. Oh, that's not professional. No, what you said wasn't professional. So now I'm just coming back with the same energy. Now you got a problem. Okay, stand down, like relax, because you don't want to go there, because they understand that once you take it outside of work, they lose the leverage. And so that's why they always toe that line. And people have done that to me for 24 years. That's why I got a list of we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. So again, outside of the little pettiness that people have against me, I'm still flourishing. I got promoted last year in 2001, and now I'm slated to go to leadership school in August, primary leadership development school. Primary leadership development course. It's a 30-day course where you go and you're supposed to learn how to be an NCO, a sergeant. And when we make sergeant is when we start being in charge of other people officially, right? Those are the 3 chevrons. And it's a big deal, right? That is a big deal because now you separate yourself from your peers officially, and you become on a higher tier than they are. From the E4 to the E5. But that shit was just, all we did was clean up for 30 days. We probably did enough work for 2 weeks. And the rest of the time was just busy work. We're cleaning up outside. We're mowing grass. We're cutting hedges. We're mopping. We're sweeping. It was a waste of time, right? It was really a waste of time. But they always have really good. It was a waste of time because it was 30 days and we probably did about 2 weeks worth of work. And we did do some leadership courses. And as a young 21-year-old, and usually most of your sergeants are relatively young. And it's always good to get that leadership training, but we don't really see it as that just yet. We see it as getting more money, getting more power, getting more control. And so we don't, I didn't take the leadership courses seriously, but it is a leadership course. And that's one thing that I love about the Army is that it gives you leadership courses to make you a better, leader and commander of people. And it's stuff that can help you personally too, like master resiliency training. So I went through, PLDC, what they call it, in August. So now I am eligible to get promoted to sergeant. I called up my branch person, that person sitting at the computer, and asked them what they had available for me coming up. Like, I hit my 2 years. I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. What's good? So at this time I'm in Fort Campbell. They told me I could come to Fort Hood, which is in Killeen, Texas. No fucking way. I could go to Bragg, which is in these are the old names now. I don't know the new names. Bragg, which is in North Carolina. No fucking way. Because those units are the same as Fort Campbell, right? A lot of field units, a lot of units that go to the field for 10, 20, 30 days. And I just want to chill. I just want to relax, honestly. But I've never gotten that opportunity. I have. So I chose to go to South Korea. And they gave me a date of leaving in December of 2002. And then I spent all of 2003 in Korea. So we'll get into the 2003 portion of my time in South Korea as a 22-year-old in the next episode. But yeah, 2002 was a transition year. I transitioned to becoming, air assault qualified, finished my primary leadership course, and then, called on my own to get where I wanted to go next, because I didn't want anyone else telling me where to go. If I'm going to go somewhere next, I want to be able to choose, and at least choose the lesser of 3 or 4 evils, because they're always going to kind of send you to the same places because they see your track record. But if you call that person, usually they can see like, hey, you've been in this type of unit for 2 years. Okay, you paid a little bit of dues. You've had to suck for a little while. Let me give you somewhere a little bit nicer. And, that's what I was thinking about when I went to Korea. And I think that's what they hoped for by sending me there, because I was young and I was single, and it was just easier to move me overseas. But yeah, 2002 was really good. I think once I start to get a little comfortable and to get in the swing of things, I get bored. And I always wanted to travel on the Army's dime. Unfortunately, they don't have many good destinations. I didn't find out later that they have some really great destinations if you're in the right program, but we'll get to that when it comes. But yeah, I think that's it for 2002. This is kind of my first foray into dealing with someone with more power than me, and me not going for the bullshit. And so starting to understand that people poke at you when you are, beneath them or lower than them on the rank scale, until you return that energy. They want you to just, I'm in charge of you, I'm bigger than you. Okay, you're right. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. No, are you nuts? Were you nuts? No, like, what's your problem? What's your deal? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just not doing what you want me to do. And that bothers you because you just want me to say yes and just move on. No, I've never been that way. I'm a Generation Xer. Why am I doing that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing it. And, people, that's where we get into you don't like authority. Why'd you join the Army? It's not just about the authority. It's what comes with the authority. I've dealt with authority figures all the time, but it's how you handle that. Some people, cops get authority and they just wield it. And I have a problem with that, right? People say, well, everyone does. No, everyone doesn't, because some people look at it and will be like, hey, a policeman told me to do this, and so, you have to do it. No, you don't always have to do shit, right? Sometimes they can be wrong. And just because they're in a position of authority, people expect you to just follow what they say because you're afraid. I have authority over you. I'm telling you what to do. You must comply. That is not true. And so I didn't see it that way, and I don't see it that way, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I will comply. Hey, I'm wrong. You're right. But if I'm not doing anything and you're just going out of your way, I feel, to make an example or to demonstrate your authority over me, it's not going to go the way that you thought, right? It's just not going to be shut up and dribble. Like, no, I've never done that. I'm never going to do that, because that is an abuse of power. And so that's why when I say I have a problem with authority, that's why. It's not a problem with it. That's just how we kind of phrase it. It's not a problem, but this is when I started to notice that there are people who this is their everything. Being in the military, having some rank, going to a certain school, having a certain job, that's who they are. That's their everything. So they put all their eggs in that basket, and somewhere along the line, someone enabled them to think that way. And I wasn't gonna let that happen to me. I wasn't gonna be one of those people. So that's what 2002 taught me. And that's why I had to get the ejectocito. But that's been 2002 in the Quarter Century Soldier series. Stay tuned for 2003.